welcome to this week's episode of the Amber Tree Wellness TV, your weekly dose of health and well-being. How are you going this week? This week what I'm going to talk to you about is some of the triggers which actually put us into these reactive patterns that I've been speaking about in previous videos. If you find yourself in these continuing patterns of reaction, irritability, being stressed, being fearful, being in pain, we have to look at the environment, the people and the things around you that might be actually triggering this. As I've said in the past, you often can't change the environment or your situations, but you can always change the way that you react. And for some people, they will cope really well in one environment like at work, but when they get home, they can't cope. So we need to see where these triggers come from. Now, different things can trigger us. Some of these are different people. And you probably know in your own life that you're a different person around your family, say, to your work environment. Other things that can actually trigger you are colours, smells, tastes, sound. And all of these can actually trigger something. And so we ask the question, why? Why do we get triggered? Why does our subconscious mind trigger on some of these things? And some of this is to do with things that have happened to us in the past. Let's talk about smell. And this is a really big one because a lot of people, they remember the smell of, say, their grandmother. Maybe she always wore lavender. And every time they smell lavender, that takes them to a nice place. And that's fantastic. That's great. But then we look at the other side of that. What happens when the smell or the sound or the colour takes us back to something else? And sometimes we can't remember it. As children, we may have been in a particularly stressful situation, heard something, saw something, felt something or smelt something, which our subconscious mind was unable to properly process. And because of that, every time we see, hear, smell that particular trigger, we go back to when we were a child and our subconscious mind repeats the behaviour. And it's a behaviour of fear, of a behaviour of I'm not good enough. All of that stuff, it starts to repeat. So we have all these triggers. So how do we actually clear some of these triggers? Number one, and I put this through all the videos, it's starting to observe it. Starting to observe when you find that when you're with different people, you act a different way. How are you around your family? How are you at Christmas time? Or do you dread going to work because you don't feel comfortable with some of the people there? Do you notice that when certain colours come into your life, you don't feel right, you feel uncomfortable? These are all triggers. Now, some of the things, as I said, starting to observe them, and then you can actually clear some of these triggers. You can actually clear your subconscious response to them. Now, one way you can do that, and particularly if it's people, there's people in your life who have caused you pain in the past and continue to still cause you stress. The first thing you can do to actually resolve that situation is to forgive them. Forgive them. And even if you don't want to speak and you can't speak to them face to face, forgive them in your heart. Write them a letter. Forgive them. Tell them that you love them. Everybody comes from a different space, and what you're finding offensive, they may not find offensive. So if you forgive them from your heart, you'll actually find that your reaction goes. With the colours and the smells and all those different triggers, I use Lifeline technique to clear those. But if you notice them, just use your infinite love and gratitude, put it on your heart, and actually just sit with that colour, sit with that smell, and instead of being in fear, be in love. I hope this video has helped you and helped you understand that there's things that trigger you in your life. But that doesn't have to rule the way your life is. Please feel free to share this video with your friends and your family. If you've got any comments, make them down below. I'd love to hear what you've got to say. I'll pop in and I'll answer any questions that you have. And until next week, I'm going to share some more tips on how you can actually create the perfect life, how you can live the life that you want to live. I'll see you then. Infinite love and gratitude. Bye. Hi, just before you go, I hope you've been enjoying the weekly episodes of the Amber Tree Wellness TV. If you feel tired and run down and stressed and overwhelmed, and you know that there's a better way of life, I'd like to tell you about my Energize Your Life program. It's a program that I have put together to help women just like you to create the life of their dreams. If you're interested, click on the link below and pop over to my website www.vitalityhealthsolutions.com and learn more about the Energize Your Life program. Looking forward to seeing you over on the website. Till next week. Bye.